Drew from Top City Gear here again, and today I just want to talk a little bit about my handy dandy bag from Maxpedition, the Maxpedition Malaga. And this is a bag I've had for right around 10 months now, and I've actually been using it pretty much every day for those 10 months. It's sort of my EDC slash urban survival kit, things that I kind of like to have around me, but I don't necessarily need or want to carry them on my person. And I take this to work every day, so just about everywhere I go, I've got it somewhere around me. So, and this actually is a pretty handy little bag. This bag is part of Maxpedition's Gearslinger series, which are the ones with the single strap going across the chest there, and basically that allows you to sling it around to the front as you need it. So it's a pretty good system, so why don't we take a little bit more detailed look here. And when I was trying to decide on which Maxpedition bag I wanted to go with, I had a few things to consider. One, I knew I was going to pretty much be using it every day, and so I wanted it to be pretty small and easy to carry around. And then, but I did want it large enough to be able to fit a your typical notepad somewhere in it. And that was mainly how I decided on the Malaga, because it was just the right size to just it would fit a notepad or something real nice in the back, a book. Because sometimes I take this to various meetings where I need some paperwork or something. And then also another factor was I wanted to try the Gearslinger, one of the single strap bags. So that's kind of how I arrived at deciding on this bag here. You can get all the dimensions on Maxpedition's website, but just kind of roughly, it's about 7 inches thick with it empty and opened up, and it's about 1 foot wide and about 14 inches tall, and it's made of a pretty heavy duty abrasion resistant and water resistant nylon. So it's actually really sturdy. I've had absolutely no issues as far as the strength or the durability or the the stitching and all that. It's been great. I don't routinely carry a lot of weight on it, but I have taken it on some hikes and everything, so it seems to work pretty good there. Now, just kind of looking at the outside, there was a number of compression straps on it. There's a setup here where these plastic tabs are going around the outside, squeezing it this way, and then there was also one that kind of went up from the center and went back to these tabs here. Now, I didn't think I needed that, and it kind of obstructed access to these front pockets here, so I just went ahead and took them all off, and I never thought I'd need them or planned on needing them. So I think it makes it look a little bit cleaner too. Now I'll just go through these pockets here. Let's start with the big main compartment here. You can see it's approximately maybe about 3 or 4 inches thick there, and it's got a number of pockets in there. It's got a little flap. Actually, it's kind of a big flap. It's the whole width of the back there that you can fit some. You can probably fit a book or notebook there. Now on the other side, it has this flap here. It's got 2 good-sized pockets there, and a zippered pocket that's the full width of the flap there. And then that folds out with it's got a Velcro tab holding it down there, but then that also folds out, and then you've got another big open pocket there with some the loop side of the Velcro, if you wanted to stick something in there. And it also has these 2 nylon, I guess they're nylon, some kind of corded loops, I guess you'd say. And actually, those I use those a lot. They come in handy. I have a couple bags that I attach in there, and they are nice for keeping your, if you have little bags you put stuff in, like for instance this is my first aid kit. I like to keep it hooked into one of those, and that just keeps it from getting stuck at the bottom. Then you've got room, you can keep down at the bottom, keep stuff down at the bottom, and then it doesn't, you know, not everything piles up there, so it's, you're not really digging it out. Especially if you're got something like a first aid kit, you don't want to be digging through a bunch of crap to find it. Let's see here. Zip that baby back up. Now you'll notice that that main compartment, it has two zipper pulls, and this bottom pocket also has two zipper pulls, but the top one does not, and that can create a problem, which I'll address a little bit later here. But for the top pocket, it's, you know, it's maybe about an inch or so thickness wise. It's got a number of elastic loops in there, and a nice little pocket here. I've got a zip tie hide in there, and then also you can keep stuff on the outside of those loops in here. And also, I also you know, it's got some loops here, and of course the loop side of the Velcro there. This here is also a compartment there. I usually just stick ink pens in there. Like I said, I use this mostly for EDC, and I take it to work with me, so kind of more geared towards that type of stuff. Now the bottom front pocket here, it's got a large, fairly deep compartment here. Also has a lanyard to keep extra keys on. A couple of mesh pockets. One's about twice as wide as the other, maybe about 4 inches tall. And then of course you can always keep stuff in front of that, in between there. And it also has another mesh pocket here on the outside, which does not go down all the way, just a couple inches there. And a couple other nice loops in there. And you can see from all these compartments, you really could keep a lot of stuff in there and get it nice and customized however you like it. Let's not forget about the very front pocket here. See, that's just one single pocket. There's really no extra compartments or loops or anything like that inside there. So you can, I usually stick a number of plastic bags in there, you know, like grocery bags, and a couple other things. But now the rear pocket, like I said earlier, it can fit a whole notebook. This is just some kind of ledger book, but you know, it fits that in there nicely. And it also has this velcroed and button snap that will hold whatever you got in there. And this will actually stretch out a bit too, so it doesn't have to be as thin as that. I mean, you could probably fit a textbook or something like that in there. And then it also has the loop Velcro. If you wanted to use it to hold a concealed carry gun in there, that's kind of what that's designed to work with. Maxpedition's Velcro holster you can stick in the universal holster. Now there's also a couple of compartments on the strap, which I kind of like to show you how I use those. Now this top one, there's actually a compartment there. You know, it's probably about 4 or 5 inches deep, and then also has some of the PALS webbing on there. Now this one, this strap, when you're wearing it, of course, it's going to be more towards the middle of your chest. So I do use that. I'll show you. That is where I keep my garage door opener, actually. I just like to hook it inside this D-ring, just like that. And then I will slide it through the webbing there, and then down into that little pouch. And now with it like that, I don't even have to take it out to actuate the button. I can just press it through the fabric there, and it's real convenient. And that way, if I leave out my garage door, I never forget to bring my bag with me. So that's pretty nice. And then of course with all these you know, the extra webbing here and the webbings on the side, you know, on both sides, and some on the front here, you can attach all sort of different accessories and other pouches and stuff to this if you do need more room. I pretty much keep it like this though. Like I said, I use it for EDC purposes, so it really will hold a lot of things. I'm not going to show you everything I keep in there, just in case nobody really cares about what kind of crap I got in there and you're more interested in the bag, but maybe I'll break that out into its own video. Now why don't we take a look and see sort of what wearing this looks like. Now after living with this bag for almost a year now, I kind of have gotten to know some of the nuances, some of the quirks of actually using it, so I thought I'd share those with you. First thing you might want to know about the single strap is that you know, for any given amount of weight, a single strap is probably a little less comfortable than two straps just from the load spreading out. But actually I loaded up this probably weighs somewhere around 12 pounds or so, so it doesn't really bother me that much, and it did take a little bit of getting used to. I think my shoulder sort of got stronger after a while. When I first got this, I almost didn't really like it. It kind of felt uncomfortable. It seemed like the top of the bag was hanging up off my back, you know, kind of far away, and then the bottom was sort of digging into my lower back. What I found was I basically just didn't have the strap adjusted right, and I found that it works best, at least for me, to have the strap pretty tight. You know, have it so there's hardly any slack in the strap, so that the top is sucked up against your back and not hanging away from it. Now what that means is that it's going to be a little bit more difficult if you have it over your head across your chest, and to get it off, you know, like you might think that you would. It's a little bit awkward to do it this way. But what I've found, I don't ever take it off that way anymore. That's where this strap with the buckle in the middle really comes in handy. And basically I've kind of gotten to the habit of just doing sort of one of these maneuvers and hooking it back, and then it's off. And then when I want to put it back on, just do the opposite. Sling it over one shoulder, unhook, go across the head, snap it back together. And that really allows you to keep it nice and tight, and it makes it super easy to get off afterwards. And another note on this buckle, you know, I've probably stuck this thing, since I've doing it that way multiple times a day. You know, I've probably done that at least 1,000 times, and the buckle does not show any signs of really weakening or anything like that. It's plenty strong. I'm pulling on it pretty good now, so you know, it's very durable, I guess is what I'm saying with the plastic. Sometimes you might wonder if a plastic snap or buckle like that's going to really last, but it really seems to have held up over time. And another thing about this strap, it does have a provision here for the of a secondary strap to help secure it to your body. Now, I usually don't use that, but I do have it just tucked into the back here. You can see that it's hanging off right there. And then if you want to put that on, snap the main strap and then snap in the secondary strap. And then that sort of keeps it more stable, you know, if you're on a long trek or running or jogging, something like that. But most of the time I don't really find I need that, just because I'm more of using it as an EDC bag, and a lot of the time I'm not actually wearing it, so I just pull that strap out and kind of tuck it down into this main back pocket there. That way it's there if I ever need it, but it's really not in the way if I don't, which I find is most of the time. Now another thing I've noticed, this Gearslinger setup where you can swing the bag around your front, it is really, really handy. One, if say you're out walking around just, in a touristy type place, or even outside, doesn't really matter. If you feel the need to sit down, then you can just swing this around to your front and, sit and kind of have a little armrest here, and it makes it real comfortable. And that way you're not, sitting on your bag where you don't have to take your bag off, if you're in a spot where you're worried about theft or pickpockets or something. Everything you've got is in front of you. You keep an eye on it, and it's nice and secure. And another reason this is handy, which is sort of probably one of the intentions of the design, is that it allows you to get to the stuff in your pockets without taking it off, and you can sort of unzip your pockets here and get to all your stuff. Now there's a couple things to note about this. One, with the Malaga and a couple of others, I think with Maxpedition Remora, the smaller bags, really, the ones that have the ambidextrous strap, the pockets in here are more, they're more oriented for the bag when it's vertical, so you put all your stuff down in there, the bag vertical. So that means when you swing it around to your front, now the pockets are laying on their side. So you do have to be careful that if you open one of these pouches, that all your stuff isn't just going to fall out of the side there. One way you can combat that is to make use of the dual zipper pulls here. And these are all YKK zippers, by the way, very nice, very high quality. But if you, say you want to get into this pouch here, you just pull that maybe down a little bit, then you can get to your stuff without fully opening the bottom of the pocket and letting everything fall out. But just keep an eye on that. And then one note about doing that, you can't do that with this top pocket here because it only has a single zipper pull, which is not necessarily a problem if you carry it right-handed, because if you carry it right-handed, the zipper would be opening from the top and then you could zip it down. But if you're a lefty like me, to open it, you've got to start it at the bottom, and then you're opening the bottom first, so anything you've got there, it could fall out fairly easily. So sometimes it is not ideal to get to your stuff with it on your person. Now some of the other Maxpedition bags that don't have the ambidextrous strap, like the Maxpedition Sitka and I believe the Kodiak, their pockets are more oriented at a 90-degree angle to be fully accessed with them on your front. So they're sort of just the opposite. If you had them like this, then they'd be pointing to the side and falling out. But like this, all the zippers are kind of on the side and everything folds out in front of you. So just kind of note that. That's one thing I didn't really fully realize when I bought it, and it's not a real big deal, but if you were somebody who was planning to have this on your front side and getting into the pockets all the time, you may not want to go with this style of bags. Now one other nice thing about the Gearslinger, or really any mono strap bag like this that you can swing around in front, one thing that they do have an advantage over a dual strap bag is with being able to move it to the front. It makes it super easy to carry a second traditional book bag. So if you ever have the need for two bags, you can take one, swing it around your front, and then take another one and just throw it over your back. I actually use this a lot, when checking into hotels. If I've got, if I need more luggage for clothing or laptop, whatever, stick it in this bag, and you're not really going to carry that a lot. It keeps your hands free. Now you've got both your hands free, and you've already got 2 bags on you. And then you can pull your suitcase with 1 free hand, and 2 suitcases. So it just makes it a lot easier. Maybe it'll save you a trip to the car. Just kind of depending on what you need. And then it also balances the load a lot as well. If you've got weight on your back and you've got weight on your front, it's sort of a neutralizing effect as far as having the weight pulling on one side or the other. So now, something else I wanted to note about the Maxpedition Gearslingers is that there's actually sort of 2 types that they have. They have on their smaller bags an ambidextrous style strap, which can be fitted for left and right people, or left and right handers, and the normal, I guess you'd say, or non-ambidextrous style that they have on the larger bags. Now this Malaga is the ambidextrous style, and you can see that the strap is actually attached in the center of the bag, and then to make it left or right handed, you just attach it to the appropriate D-ring that's on the side there. So in a nutshell, this bag really has been super kind to me. I really haven't had any issues with it at all, other than taking time to figure out that where that strap needed to be adjusted to. That was really about my only issue. But other than that, I mean, it's worked great. It's been super durable over all this time, and the price point might be a little bit high for some, people thinking, oh, it's just a little book bag for around $100 or so. But once you factor in all of the all of the various compartments it has, which a lot of lesser bags wouldn't have, and all the durability and the versatility of the Gearslinger system and all that, I think it really does represent a good value. Now this bag's probably going to be handiest for people who have a lot of little things that they like to keep organized. If you're looking for something to keep books in, or something with a laptop, this is probably a little bit smaller than what you'd need. And with all the extra pockets, if you're not going to have a lot of small things, maybe you don't want to spend the extra money on this. But if you're somebody who just needs something that maybe a large size EDC or sort of a survival emergency kit, or a go bag to have handy, I think this would work pretty good. So thanks for watching, and stay prepared.